The stars were dying in silence. Commander Elias Vance stood on the bridge of the TSS Retribution, hands clasped behind his back as the viewport filled with streaks of burning light. They weren't meteors. They were cities, entire colonies, falling through the upper atmosphere of Klein 4, burning like candles in a storm. Every streak was a million lives erased. "Status," he said, voice steady though the deck trembled beneath him. "Shields at 15%. Lieutenant Mara Sato replied from tactical. "Reactor 3 is gone. We're venting atmosphere from decks 5 through 7. Enemy? Too many." The display flickered, 200 crimson icons swarming around a handful of blue. Human ships were breaking apart under sustained plasma fire. The Coalition fleet had arrived without warning, no parley, no demands, just extermination. Through the comms, a cold, alien voice echoed. "Attention, Terran vessels. This is Strategos Kadar of the Vorn Dominion, speaking on behalf of the Galactic Coalition. Your species has been deemed a contagion. Your eradication begins now. May your extinction be swift." Silence followed. Then the laughter, low, metallic, carried across every open frequency like a mockery of life. Vance let the words settle, then exhaled through his nose. "Patch me to all surviving ships." A flicker. Static. Then faces appeared, captains, soldiers, frightened crews. "This is Commander Vance," he said. "If you're still breathing, you're still in the fight. They think this'll be quick. Let's teach them what human extinction looks like when it fights back." "Sir," Sato murmured, "we can't win this engagement." "Didn't say we would." Vance stepped toward the tactical table. "But we can make them bleed." The Retribution dove into the debris field of Klein IV's shattered defense ring, its hull scraping through twisted metal and drifting corpses of ships. Behind them, the alien armada's weapons painted streaks of violet fire across the black. Chief Engineer Holt's gravel voice broke through the calm. "If they hit the drive core again, we'll vaporize." "Good thing they can't hit what they can't see," Vance replied. "Sato, deploy the ghost field." "Aye, sir." The ship shimmered as electromagnetic residue from the wreckage enveloped them, masking their heat signature. The alien scanners lost them for a moment, enough time for Vance's plan to unfold. He studied the broken hulks drifting nearby. One of them, a captured Coalition carrier, was still half intact, its fuel cells unstable, glowing like a heart about to burst. Vance's gaze hardened. "Holt, remote link to that carrier's reactor." "You're not serious." "Completely. Rig it to detonate when their ships close in." "That's suicide." "Only if you stay to watch." Minutes later, the human fleet's last few ships pulled back. On alien sensors, it looked like retreat, just another Terran defeat. The Coalition fleet advanced confidently, Kadar's voice echoing through his command bridge. "End it. Leave no survivors." As the alien ships tightened formation around the derelict carrier, the Retribution slipped behind a cluster of asteroids. Holt's countdown blinked red across the bridge display. 10, 9, 8. Sato looked at Vance. "We really going to do this?" Vance didn't blink. "They declared war. I'm just returning the favor." 3, 2, 1. The void erupted. A blinding sphere of white engulfed the center of the alien armada, consuming a dozen warships instantly. The shockwave rippled outward, shattering hulls and scattering debris for thousands of kilometers. When the light faded, a third of the enemy fleet was crippled, drifting and silent. Sato exhaled. "Holy hell! That was beautiful." Vance allowed himself a small, humorless smile. "Record it. Send the footage to Earth Command. Label it, 'Congratulations. You just declared war on humanity.'" Hours later, the battlefield was a graveyard. Human ships limped through the wreckage, collecting survivors, salvaging anything useful. The Retribution had lost power to half its systems, but it was still alive, and that was more than most could say. In the quiet aftermath, Vance stepped into the observation deck. The planet below was ash-gray, its surface scarred with fresh craters. He stared at it for a long time, the reflections of distant fires glinting in his eyes. Sato approached, her tone subdued. We lost Klein 4. 20 million civilians. No transmissions. No escape pods. He didn't answer immediately. Do we have confirmation on who authorized this strike? Coalition Council. 31 species signed the declaration. It's official. Vance gave a slow nod. Then it's official for us too. She frowned. Sir, we're outnumbered 50 to 1. We can't fight that kind of war. Vance turned to face her. That's what they're counting on, that we'll accept those odds. But numbers don't win wars. Will does. Will doesn't stop plasma bolts. No, he said quietly. But it decides who keeps shooting after they're out of ammo. Down in engineering, Holt and his team worked among smoke and sparking conduits. Athena's holographic avatar flickered beside them, her voice calm and precise. Structural integrity at 43%. Multiple reactor instabilities detected. Recommend evacuation. Recommend you shut up and give me a miracle, Holt grumbled. Athena tilted her head. Miracle protocols are not in my database. They're called humans, Vance said, stepping in. We make them up as we go. Holt snorted. Then you'd better start improvising fast. If we don't patch the drive, we're not leaving this system. Do it. We've got 6 hours before the enemy reorganizes. After that, we're ghosts. By the time the Retribution limped out of Klein Ivy's orbit, its hull was scorched, but its transponder still pulsed proudly. UTR-05. Terran ship of war. Behind them, Kotha watched from his command vessel, his obsidian eyes narrowing. They should have been destroyed, his adjutant hissed. Their technology is inferior. Kotha's mandibles twitched in irritation. Inferior, yet they killed thousands of our warriors with a single trap. He turned his gaze toward the distant speck of the retreating human ship. I have studied hundreds of civilizations. All fall when logic demands it. But this one. He paused. This one defies reason. In deep space, Vance recorded a final message. The bridge was dim, only the glow of emergency lights painting his face. This is Commander Elias Vance of the Retribution. Klein 4 has fallen. The Galactic Coalition has declared extermination. We've lost millions, but we're not done. We're never done. He leaned closer to the camera. They think we're prey. They think we'll break. Let them believe it. Because when we strike back, I want them to remember exactly who we are. He ended the recording and sent it through encrypted channels across human space. The message spread faster than the news of the defeat itself. For the first time since the war began, there was a spark, a whisper among survivors, soldiers, and colonists alike. We fight. We endure. We are human. Hours later, as the Retribution disappeared into the black, Vance stood at the viewport again. He looked at the smoldering horizon of Klein 4, then beyond it, toward the stars that waited, indifferent and endless. They wanted war, he murmured. Now they'll learn what that means. Behind him, Athena's soft voice broke the silence. Commander, shall I log this engagement as a defeat or a victory? Vance smiled faintly. Neither, he said. Call it a beginning. 3 weeks after Klein 4 burned, the galaxy was still trying to understand how the Terrans had survived the first blow. The TSS Retribution drifted in the shadow of a dead moon, its hull patched with scavenged armor plates stripped from alien wrecks. The stars were quiet, but the silence carried weight. Vance knew the Coalition was hunting him. He also knew they'd never expect him to be the hunter. Signal check, he said. Athena's voice was clear, cool, and utterly human in its precision. Ghost Protocol Network stable. 27 ships linked across 5 systems. Signal lag minimal. Good. Time to wake the wolves? Holographic screens flared across the bridge, scattered Terran commanders appearing in fragmented transmissions. Some wore scavenged alien uniforms. Others sat inside half-broken ships lit only by emergency lighting. But they were alive. This is Vance, he began. We've stopped running. The coalition's stronger, faster, better equipped, but they don't understand fear. They think it's weakness. It's not. Fear is what makes us creative. Captain Reyes, his face scarred and voice raw, asked, "You want us to start hitting them directly? With what?" "We're hanging by threads. With whatever's left. Use their tech. Steal their codes. If you can't beat them, confuse them. Make them question what's real." A pause followed. Then nods rippled through the feed. For the first time, humanity's scattered fleet looked like a pack instead of prey. Later, in the tactical bay, Sato sifted through alien communication logs. "Their fleet coordination's too clean," she said. "It's centralized, like a hive. If we disrupt command transmissions, they'll stumble." "How centralized?" Vance asked. "Every ship gets orders directly from Strategos Kathar's flagship, the Eternal Dominion. Without his signal, they're blind." Vance studied the holographic layout of the Coalition fleet, an intricate web of lines converging on one massive warship at the center. "Then we don't have to fight their armada," he said quietly. "We just have to cut off its head." Sato frowned. "We'd need a key to their encryption net to even get close. That means boarding a Coalition ship." Vance's expression didn't change. "Then we board one." Hours later, the Retribution and 2 escort corvettes ambushed a lone Coalition dreadnought patrolling the Zedra Rift. The alien ship dwarfed them, its hull like black obsidian veined with glowing circuits. The humans attacked without warning, concentrated bursts to cripple engines, disrupt sensors, and blow open docking ports. Boarding pods streaked across the void, slamming into the dreadnought's hull like silver bullets. Inside, chaos reigned. The air was thick with smoke and the scent of alien blood, sharp and metallic. Vance led the strike team through twisting corridors, pulse rifle steady. The walls pulsed faintly, organic and alive. "Athena, patch me into their system," Vance ordered. "Accessing, firewall's complex, but not impossible." Gunfire echoed ahead. Sato's voice crackled through comms. "Contact! Upper corridor! We've got hostiles!" "Hold position," Vance said, taking cover behind a shattered bulkhead. 2 Vorn soldiers rounded the corner, their chitin armor reflecting the strobing light. He moved before they could fire, a single shot through the first one's thorax, another burst to drop the second. No hesitation. Athena's tone cut through the silence. "Encryption core located. Forward chamber, 50 meters." They advanced, boots splashing through coolant and alien fluids. The chamber's heart glowed with pulsating energy, a neural core linked directly to the Dominion's network. Sato's breath caught. "It's alive! Then let's kill it." Holt knelt beside the device, tools in hand. "I can extract the data feed, but it'll trigger a purge." "How long?" Vance asked. 2 minutes. You've got 60 seconds. The hum intensified as the dreadnought began to shake. Athena's hologram flickered beside them, her voice urgent. "Coalition reinforcements inbound. They've detected the breach." "Then we finish this fast," Vance said. The chamber's lights pulsed crimson as Holt pulled a glowing data shard from the neural core. Sparks cascaded down his arm, searing his sleeve. He grimaced but didn't stop. "Got it!" "Good," Vance said, grabbing the shard. "Now run." They sprinted back toward the pods as the dreadnought's self-destruct protocols roared to life. The corridors twisted with collapsing bulkheads and ruptured conduits. Flames trailed them as the team leapt into the last pod and launched into the void. Behind them, the alien ship erupted into a silent, expanding bloom of light. Hours later, the crew gathered in the Retribution's command chamber. Athena projected the decrypted data, an intricate lattice of command nodes linked to Kathar's flagship. "Each node represents a coalition fleet sector," Sato explained. "They all route through the Dominion. If we disrupt this link, their entire coordination chain collapses." "How long before they rebuild it?" Holt asked. "Days. Maybe weeks." Vance nodded slowly. "Then we use that window." He looked at Athena. "Can you infiltrate their network?" "Partially. Their code is fluid adaptive. But I can mimic a coalition signal long enough to send false orders. Do it, Vance said. Let's make them hunt ghosts. For the next several days, chaos spread through the coalition ranks. Alien fleets turned on phantom targets, chasing non-existent Terran signals. Supply convoys vanished into ambushes. Munitions depots exploded under mysterious malfunctions. No one trusted their scanners, their orders, or even their allies. Kathar's subcommanders began to argue across encrypted channels, accusing each other of sabotage. In their arrogance, they couldn't comprehend how the humans had penetrated their flawless systems. When Kathar demanded answers, his intelligence officers offered only one name, Vance. The Terran commander, one hissed. He uses deception as a weapon. He doesn't fight conventionally. He fights like us. Kathar's claws flexed. No, he said softly. He fights like something far worse. Meanwhile, on the Retribution, the crew watched as intercepted transmissions rolled across the console screens, alien panic unfolding in real time. Sato smirked. They're starting to fear us. Vance didn't smile. Good. Fear's contagious. She studied him for a moment. You think this will actually change the war? It already has, he said. They're learning the first rule of fighting humans. We don't lose the same way twice. Holt's gravel voice rumbled from engineering. Drive stable. Weapons refitted. We're ready for whatever comes next. Vance looked out into the dark. Then we take the next step. Sato frowned. And that is? He turned, eyes cold and resolute. We find Kathar. Athena's voice joined in, quieter than usual. Commander, infiltration of their network revealed coordinates linked to the Dominion's central command. It's real. Transmit it. A glowing star map filled the bridge. The coordinates pulsed near the edge of Coalition space, a system labeled Vorn's Gate, a fortified world bristling with defenses. Holt muttered. That's suicide. Maybe, Vance said. But it's also opportunity. Sato crossed her arms. You plan to hit their command ship? With what exactly? With us, he said. Every ship that can still fly. We strike before they recover. Take the head, the body dies. Sato shook her head but couldn't hide the faint, dangerous spark in her eyes. You're insane. Probably, Vance replied, turning back to the viewport. But so was every human who ever changed the odds. He opened the fleet-wide channel. This is Commander Vance. The Coalition thinks we're scattered, broken, afraid. They're wrong. We're going to their doorstep, and we're going to show them what humanity does when it's cornered. He paused, letting the silence hang heavy. Prepare for Operation Dominion. Hours later, as the fleet prepared to move, Athena whispered across the bridge. Commander, statistical probability of success is less than 3%. Vance didn't hesitate. That's 97% opportunity. He looked at the distant stars, the faint light glinting in his eyes. They wanted a war of extermination. Let's give them a lesson in survival. The Retribution's engines ignited, a streak of defiance cutting through the black. Humanity had stopped running. Now, it was hunting. The human fleet emerged from the dark like a ghost army, 200 battered ships wrapped in silence. The void around Vorn's Gate shimmered with the energy fields of the Galactic Coalition's main fortress world. Beyond it, Kathar's flagship, the Eternal Dominion, floated like a black sun, massive, perfect, and surrounded by 1,000 warships. Commander Elias Vance stood on the bridge of the Retribution, face lit by tactical readouts. Every crew member was silent, watching him. No one needed speeches anymore. They all understood what this mission meant: no reinforcements, no retreat, no second chances. Athena's voice cut through the hum. All strike groups in position. Stealth integrity stable. Enemy sensors blind within a 6-minute window. Then we make it count, Vance said. Execute Operation Dominion. The fleet moved, a synchronized ghost formation sliding through the nebula's shadow. Human ships fanned out, vanishing into the haze, each carrying a piece of a much larger trap. Vance turned to Sato. Signal the decoys. She hit the command. Instantly, hundreds of false energy signatures burst across the system, mimicking an entire invasion fleet. Coalition scanners erupted in alarms. Alien commanders scrambled to respond. Kathar's cold, inhuman voice rang through the command channels of his armada. Find them. Find the Terrans and end this farce. But the chaos was already spreading. The first strike came without warning. 3 human corvettes decloaked within the heart of the coalition formation and detonated their cores, ripping open the defensive perimeter. Human destroyers surged through the gap, weapons blazing. The void lit up like a sunrise made of fire. Multiple hits confirmed, Sato shouted. Their command net's fragmenting. Vance watched as alien ships struggled to coordinate. Without Kathar's direct signal, the coalition's precision turned to confusion. Send in Phase 2, he ordered. From the shadow of the Retribution, a swarm of drone pods launched, small, silent machines built from scavenged alien components. They spread through the battlefield like locusts, latching onto enemy hulls and detonating in blinding bursts. Athena's voice was steady. Enemy casualties increasing exponentially. Coalition fleet cohesion dropping below 40%. Vance's expression didn't change. Good. Now we go for the throat. As the battle raged, the Retribution dove straight toward the Eternal Dominion. Plasma fire lanced past, tearing at the ship's flanks. Hull alarms screamed, but no one flinched. Holt's voice came through the comms, ragged but determined. We can't take much more of this, Commander. We won't have to, Vance said. Once we breach, you know what to do. The Dominion loomed larger, an obsidian fortress stretching miles across, pulsing with energy. Human fighters streaked ahead, drawing fire. One by one, they burned up in the alien barrage, clearing a narrow window. Sato's voice was tight. We have 5 seconds to impact window. Plenty of time. Vance gripped the command rail. Athena, ram sequence on my mark. Confirmed. Mark. The Retribution surged forward, its engines screaming as it smashed through the Dominion's outer shielding. The hull buckled, alarms wailed, and gravity failed, but the ship broke through, embedding itself into the alien giant's armor. When the light faded, the bridge was half in darkness, smoke curling from the consoles. Sato coughed, wiping blood from her cheek. We're in. Vance stood, unstrapping himself. Then we finish this. Inside the Dominion, the air shimmered with static and alien mist. The corridors were lined with living metal that pulsed faintly under the soldiers' boots. Vance led the strike team forward, a dozen humans carrying the last charges humanity had left. Athena projected ahead of them, mapping the labyrinthine halls. Kathar's command nexus is located in the central core. Estimated time to breach, 6 minutes. Then we're already late, Vance said. They fought their way through alien defenders, tall, armored figures with bladed limbs and energy rifles that hissed like serpents. The firefights were brutal, fast, and silent except for the hiss of plasma and the screams that followed. When they reached the core chamber, Kathar was waiting. He stood at the center of a platform surrounded by pillars of energy, tall, regal, eyes burning like molten gold. His voice filled the vast chamber. You came to die, Terran. Vance raised his weapon but didn't fire. Maybe. But you're coming with me. Kathar's mandibles twitched in amusement. You are an anomaly, a lesser creature pretending to be a conqueror. Do you truly believe your species can defy the galaxy? Vance stepped forward, calm. Defiance is what we are. You mistake survival for weakness. It's evolution. Kathar's hand snapped forward, releasing a pulse of energy that hurled Vance backward. His armor scorched, ribs aching, but he forced himself to stand. You fight like a god, Vance said, leveling his rifle. But you bleed like anything else. He fired. The shot tore through Kathar's shoulder, sending black ichor splattering across the floor. The alien roared, lunging forward with claws extended. They collided, a blur of motion, strength, and desperation. Vance fought with everything left, fists, elbows, a knife from his belt. Kathar's blows landed like thunder, but Vance didn't stop. When the alien's claw slashed his side, he used the pain to drive the blade straight into Kathar's chest. For a moment they locked eyes, predator and predator. Kathar's voice rasped, almost curious. "What are you?" Vance's answer was quiet. "Human." He shoved the detonator into Kathar's hand and stepped back. "Athena," he said. "Ignite the core." The AI's voice came soft, almost sorrowful. "Confirmed." The Dominion began to tear itself apart. Energy cascaded across the walls, splitting them open in lines of white fire. The ship convulsed, explosions ripping through its superstructure. Sato's voice came through the calm, broken by static. "Commander, the fleet's pulling back. You have to evacuate." "Negative," Vance replied. "This ends here." "Sir, we can still." He cut the line. The chamber filled with light. Kathar's massive body collapsed beside him, disintegrating into ash. Vance sank to one knee, clutching his side. He could barely feel his heartbeat anymore. Athena's projection appeared next to him, calm, serene, flickering like a candle. "It was an honor, Commander." "Likewise." He looked up at the core's spiraling energy. "Make sure they see it." "They will." Athena transmitted his final message across every open channel in the sector. Vance's voice carried through the chaos, clear and steady. "This is Commander Elias Vance of the United Terran Republic. To the Galactic Coalition, we are human. We adapt. We endure. And we are coming." Then the signal cut, and the Dominion vanished in a starburst of white fire that burned brighter than any sunrise. When the light faded, the battlefield was silent. The Dominion was gone. The Coalition fleet, leaderless and terrified, began to scatter. Panic rippled through their ranks. Entire species whispered that the humans had destroyed a godship with a single vessel. Weeks later, the galaxy still trembled. Coalition governments fractured. Armies refused to engage human forces. And across every world, one phrase spread like wildfire, a warning whispered in fear. "Never declare war on humanity." In the ruins of orbit, the Retribution's surviving ships drifted among the wreckage. Sato stood at her console, bruised and exhausted. Holt limped beside her, staring at the faint energy residue where the Dominion had been. "He did it," Holt said softly. Sato nodded. "He always said humans weren't the strongest or smartest. Just the ones who never stopped." Athena's voice came faintly from the speakers, her tone distant but proud. "Commander Vance's transmission was received across 9 sectors. His message has become legend." Sato looked out into the endless dark. "Then let the galaxy remember it." The fleet engines flared to life, turning away from the grave of the Dominion. Humanity was bruised, scarred, but alive, and no longer underestimated. For the first time in galactic history, the universe didn't see humans as prey. It saw predators.